I'm the Kinky Polyatheist, and today I'm going to talk about why you should not hide as a kinky, poly, or atheist person. I'm going to go over all the things that are holding you back when you're hiding and all the benefits you're going to get when you stop hiding. By the end of this video, you're going to know why you shouldn't hide and how to handle people who are trying to push you to hide. So if you want a new life, if you want to be you full-time, stick around. I'm the Kinky Polyatheist. On my show, I dispel shame around sex, sexuality, relationships, and spirituality. Like and subscribe, and if you have questions for me, you can ask them at ask@kinkypolyatheist.com. So in the spirit of not hiding, let's talk about what hiding can actually look like. I was once on my way into a party. I arrived with a friend of mine, and we've got some history. She stopped me before we went in the front door, and she turned to me and said, "Hey, am I allowed to kiss you at this party?" So that's a pretty common conversation that poly people have. We check in with our date to make sure we're not crossing any lines or nothing's going to be out of bounds or whatever based on the people who are at the event we're about to walk into. So my date was actually doing a very wise thing. She was checking in with me. She wanted to make sure that I didn't have any rules or there wasn't any egos in the party that we would have to navigate. She was actually pretty relieved when I turned to her and said, "You are not a secret. I will never hide my relationship with you. Yes, you are absolutely allowed to kiss me at this party. In fact, if there's anybody in there who has a problem with it, it's their problem. If there's somebody in there who has a crush on me, but they can't handle that I'm kissing you, I don't want a relationship with them. If there's someone in there that I have a crush on, and they can't handle that I'm kissing you, I don't want a relationship with them. I only want relationships with people who I don't have to hide around. I don't want to hide around you, bringing you into the party, and I don't want to hide around other people at the party. If people can't handle us kissing, good. I want to know, and I want to not be around them. That means that we just dodged a bullet. And that goes for both of us, in my opinion. Anyone who might have a crush on me or anyone who might have a crush on her, and vice versa. Anyone I might have a crush on or anyone she might have a crush on. We just get that out of the way up front right away. If you can't handle me kissing somebody else at this party, then we probably don't want to hang out. Think about it. If I ran into somebody at a party and I had my date kind of on the down low, and I had this connection with this new person, and we talk for a while, at some point they're going to find out I'm poly, right? And by hiding it, I'm literally like lying to them. And that's really far into creeper territory right there. So don't do it. Be honest. If you arrive with somebody, be with somebody. Have a check-in with them. Do you want to be my date at this party the whole time? Or are we just going to wander around the party separately from time to time? Do we need to be glued together? Or are we cool just hanging out with everybody? Do you know people at this party? Do you need me to introduce you? In the end, it shouldn't be a big deal. But the problem is, a lot of times we end up making it a big deal because we're hiding. Stop hiding. Another example of hiding is when people are single. You're poly and you're single. And for some reason, you don't let people know you're poly. So you end up meeting people and maybe dating somebody who's actually monogamous. At some point, you're going to have to break it to them that you're poly and you want to date other people. Why would you do that? Why would you wait? Why would you hide it? Why would you spring that on them? Be honest and open up front. I'm poly. It doesn't matter if I'm single. It doesn't matter if I'm dating one person or a bunch of people. I'm poly. So if you want to date me, that means it's not going to be exclusive. And I expect you to date other people too. A poly person will have absolutely no problem with that. A monogamous person probably will. At the same time, if you're dating somebody and they're monogamous and they give you any kind of pressure to hide, for example, you're single, you're hanging out with somebody, you're getting close, they're clearly monogamous, you're clearly not, you end up dating a few times, you end up hanging out a lot, they bring you to some event at all times, they should never be asking you to hide. If they do ask you to hide, what that's really saying is they're not okay with who you are. They're viewing your lifestyle as somehow wrong or bad. And by agreeing to hide, by agreeing to walk into an event, like you go to board game night with their friends and for some reason you're not allowed to even talk about being poly, something is wrong. You're basically admitting that what you're doing might be wrong or bad by agreeing to hide. And that's BS. There's nothing wrong or bad with wanting to date and be non-exclusive. Anybody who's asking you to hide is exercising some kind of control over you. Don't go there. They're trying to change you rather than accept you for who you are. Don't waste your time. At the same time, you shouldn't be doing it to them. If they're monogamous, You shouldn't be trying to convince them or change them to poly ways. That's ridiculous. If they're poly, they'll come to you. If they're not poly yet, they'll still come to you and they'll ask about it. You could point them in the right direction. It's up to you whether or not you want to handhold them through the whole going from monogamous to poly for the first time. That's your call. But you don't push them to be poly. That's just wrong. When they ask you to hide, they're trying to change you for their comfort. When you ask them to change and be poly and open up, you're trying to change them for your comfort. In both cases, it's unethical. Love people for who they are. There is nothing wrong with a monogamous lifestyle. They get to choose that, and you get to respect their choices. There's nothing wrong with a poly lifestyle. You get to choose that, and they get to respect your choices. If you want a healthy relationship, stop trying to change people. If a monogamous person is interested in poly and the poly lifestyle and moving into that, that's great. I highly recommend that you let them figure it out, that you don't push them, that you don't hold their hands. If you have a real connection with them, that connection will still exist a year from now. There's no rush. Let them discover who they are. So what happens when you stop hiding? As soon as you stop hiding, people can no longer use things against you. If you step into a party and say, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty kinky," people can't use kinky against you anymore. When you hide, it's a lot easier for someone to try and shame you. Clearly you're already hiding. What are you hiding? Do you think it's bad? Are you wrong? You know you're wrong. You know it's bad. It's very easy for them to shame you if you're hiding. If you are not hiding, yes, you might have a couple direct conversations, but it's way harder for someone to shame you for being kinky, poly, or atheist if you're not hiding it. You don't have to flaunt it either. You just have to not hide it. Honestly, just act like it's no big deal. "Oh yeah, I'm dating a couple people right now. We're not exclusive." While we're talking about it, you shouldn't have friends that make you want to hide. They're not your friends. As soon as you stop hiding and let them opt in or opt out of your life, you will have more time in your life for people who love you for who you are. People who are not going to shame or guilt you. The sooner you find these people who are going to love you for who you are, the sooner you'll have a support system for life. You're going to connect with people on a whole new level. You're not going to have to convince people who you are. They're going to accept you and they're going to genuinely love you for who you are without shame or BS conditions. The less you hide, the happier your life will be. The less our community hides, then the less our community will be pressured into hiding. The day I stopped hiding, people could no longer judge me or shame me into compliance to their lifestyle. You are beautiful. Your love is beautiful. Don't hide it. So what does it look like when you're not hiding? Let's start with some example phrases. I've actually found it's pretty simple. I literally just say, "I'm dating around right now and I'm not exclusive." Or if I'm talking about somebody that I'm dating, I say, "We're dating, but we're not exclusive." And then I just never stop saying that. A lot of monogamous people can get that. They can wrap their mind around the idea of, "I'm dating and we're not exclusive." So I just give them words they understand and I just never stop using them. Also, did you know that healthy boundaries involve not having to answer other people's questions? You are allowed to simply not answer people's questions. You don't need a reason or an explanation. When someone asks you about something, poly or sex or anything like that, you can literally just say, "I'm not comfortable talking about that with you." You don't have to explain yourself. If they persist, you can say, "I'm not comfortable talking about that with you, and also I don't have to give a reason." If they push the issue, then tell them, "If you're going to push this issue, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." People have to earn your vulnerability. You can also give it right back to them. You could say, "Hey, I barely know you. What makes you think it was appropriate to ask that question?" You don't have to explain yourself. If anything, they should be explaining themselves for treating you poorly. If you find yourself interacting with a bully, leave or call out their bully tactics. I'm not saying call them a bully. I'm just saying call out the tactics they are attempting to use to manipulate you. Things like shame, guilt, judgment, exaggeration, or minimization. I actually made a whole video on how to identify and stand up to a bully by basically calling out all their bully tactics. You can catch a link to that video above. In the end, we're dating and we're not exclusive is more than enough information for a sensible person with healthy boundaries. Another thing to watch out for as far as hiding goes, sometimes you'll find yourself in a relationship where someone tries to escalate to using titles or labels before you're ready. If they try to push you into being their boyfriend or girlfriend, make sure you still let them know, hey, I'm still going to introduce you as my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and we're not exclusive, right? A poly person will have absolutely no problem with this. In fact, they might even suggest it first. But someone who's trying to be poly, but is really monogamous, might try to pin you down with a title or a label. Don't let them do it. It's only more difficult later to try and back things up to, wait a minute, when did I get stuck in this monogamous relationship? I'm not hiding my poly. So there you go. Don't hide your poly. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're being controlled by people. You're letting people use shame. You're letting people say that you're wrong or bad. Don't let it happen. Just don't hide it. You don't have to flaunt it. You don't have to make a big giant deal about it, but definitely don't hide it. People can't do things to you. You can't get fired for being poly, and if you do, you could sue the pants off them. You have rights, and you do not need to hide. The community is actually very big, and you should go look for it, because as soon as you're in the community, you will realize there was never a need to hide to begin with. I hope all that was helpful. I'm the Kinky Poly Atheist. Like and subscribe. Please share this with your friends, especially your poly friends, so they can stop hiding. I'm hoping that the tips on standing up to bullies will help out the most. And I'm curious about you guys out there. When you decided to stop hiding, how did your life change? Drop something in the comments below so that the other people who are still hiding can see that there's hope. They can see that they don't have to hide who they are. I'm the Kinky Poly Atheist. Thanks for watching. Hey, one last tip. If you're interested in learning more about how to really defend your boundaries and how to hold them well, what's acceptable and what's not, I highly recommend the book Where to Draw the Line by Anne Catherine. It really helped me out. I'll leave a link to it in the description.